Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Katie and I'm a nerdy flute player, which means I do covers of video game, TV, anime, film, music, and if all of that sounds interesting, there'll be a link in the cards to all of my music videos, as well as a link in the description where you can find my music on all of the streaming services. And I definitely have more released than I have music videos, so check both of those out. I'm also a Twitch streamer. You can find me over on twitch.tv/KatieShesko, where you can find me doing all of my favorite gaming, such as Breath of the Wild, and right now I'm working on a playthrough of Witcher 3, as well as Board Game Night. I'm also stream that here on YouTube, so if Twitch isn't your thing, definitely like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell on my YouTube channel, and you'll know when I upload a new video as well as when I go live. Today, I'm here with another Dimash reaction. It's been a couple of weeks, but we are back with it. And this song is Love is Like a Dream from the Slavic Bazaar 2021. So this is a relatively new video. This was posted in July. So one of his newer videos, I'm very excited to check it out. I've seen a lot of his older stuff. I started my reactions with from I Am Singer, kind of his debut, but now we get to see him, what he's like in present day. So I'm very excited to dive in. Now, what I traditionally do with my reactions is we will watch the video the full way through. I won't pause, but I will make some general comments as the video is playing, and then we'll go back and do a very detailed analysis. So yeah, if that is interesting, let's go ahead and dive in. I really like the entrance from backstage. Wow, this is a very low register. Wow, I'm kind of surprised. I love how much time he's spending in this register. Piano is perfect. Gorgeous venue. And I'm loving the restraint. It's just so delicate. And of course, live. Oh, I see a flute back there. Ooh. Love live instruments though. Love live background performers. So good. It's just so strong and delicate at the same time. I really like it. Oh. And then we get into the opera. Love it. Oh, I like how he's playing to the camera there. Okay, there's the flute. I hear it now. Ooh. Interesting to end with a heartbeat. Oh, okay, we're not done yet. I was not expecting the fireworks either. Wow. So yeah, my overall impression, wow, that was really good. I like how the beginning was primarily on the lower register, and then he added some of the opera, and then towards the end he got a little bit more flashy with the, you know, going in the higher register and just some of his like vocalization, some of the like, I don't know the technical term for it. I'm sure that there is a technical term for like the oohs and ahs. I just know it as the oohs and ahs. Like I call it filler, but it like, again, that sounds like it has a negative connotation, but that's just how I think. It's like, it's filler. It's not lyrics of some sort. It's just vocal filler. Doesn't mean it's not beautiful, but it's vocal filler. So that's just my term for it. I'm sure there's probably a more technical singer term, but anyway, I digress. So yeah, I really liked that. There were a couple of surprising moments. Like the music kind of led you to believe that it was like the end of the song, and then like I was listening, I was like, okay, wow, like the song sounds like it's ending, but like the chording of it, I was just like, no, they wouldn't end like that. So I was like all prepared to talk about the interesting choices of those chords as an ending. It didn't sound musically resolved, but then it picked back up. So it was a little surprising, and I was not expecting the fireworks, which nice touch. You know, you hear the beginning of the song and you don't expect that kind of level of stage performance from it, like with the pyrotechnics and stuff. So that was really surprising. I love surprising elements in live performances. I miss going to live performances. That's stuff that you can't really get in a studio recording. I definitely think it's interesting how they have both live performances and a backtrack, because there's a lot of strings in there, but there were no strings on stage. So it makes me think that there was a mix of backtracking and live performers. I'm curious why they would do that as opposed to having all live performers. I guess that's better than, I think having a mix is better than an all backtrack. We've talked about how backtracks can be very limiting for a live performance when you have the resources available to have live performers. Obviously, for someone like me, I don't have the resources to ever perform my music with like live musicians. If I ever do live performances, it would be with backtracks. It's an interesting it's an interesting combination. It's an interesting performance choice. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about it. You have to have a really good sound engineer who knows right when to do it, because there definitely was elements of free flowingness within the performance. So I would imagine that you would have to have a really good sound engineer who really knew the cues and knew the music to know when to bring the backtrack in, and the performers would have to know when they're playing with a backtrack and when they're not. So it shows the caliber of everyone involved to make this sound, to like pull off this performance. So all right, let's go ahead and deep dive into this. Before I do want to mention, because of how I do my reactions, where I do a full watch through without pausing, I do tend to get copyright claimed. So if this kind of content is interesting to you, please consider becoming a patron over on patreon.com/KatieShesko. For as little as $2 a month, you can support me and my music, as well as you get access to any reactions that don't make it to YouTube. And when reactions are done, you get access to them before it goes public on YouTube. I was recently monetized here on YouTube, and I do now have access to channel memberships. So I'm going to work on getting channel memberships set up on my site. So in case you don't want to go to Patreon, you can, get some of those same perks over here on YouTube. And if you would be interested in that, leave a comment below of what you would like to see as a channel membership perk. I want to make sure that if you're going to be, supporting me in that way, that you kind of get what you want and get your money's worth, I would think. Anyway, enough of that. Let's deep dive into the let's deep dive into the song now. So before I even start singing, I really like, and another one of my reactions, he walked onto the stage as the song was starting. I really like that. It's a really cool soft entrance for something like this. And the song allows for that because he doesn't come in right at the beginning of the song. There's kind of like a piano interlude. I'm loving like these piano interlude songs that then go into like a full orchestration, full like ensemble in the end. I do this with my music sometimes, so it's something that appeals to me. And I think it's an interesting choice that like the backdrop is the piano player with the moon. Why the piano player is an interesting choice? Probably because like in some shots, because like the piano and the pianist are dressed in all black, and the relatively dark stage, they don't stand out very well. So it's a very it's a cool looking silhouette, but I'd be interested in the choice of why the silhouette of the piano player. It seems counterintuitive, but then again, I guess a silhouette of Dimash as he's moving around probably wouldn't really work either. Piano is very stationary. You're not doing a whole lot of moving with the piano unless you are like the star piano player doing a bunch of engineering feats with the stage and stuff. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting choice. Like I said, it's a very stunning visual. I like the visual, but a little confused about that particular choice. But again, it looks great. So sometimes it's just, it looked really cool, and that's reason enough for me. And how long that pause was between when the piano ended and when he came in. We talk about the space between music, or between the notes, all the time. That was such a long pause. I was not, like, that was almost uncomfortably long. There's been some pauses, but sometimes there's like uncomfortably long pauses. I think that was kind of pushing it into, it's like, is everything okay? Did something technical happen? Because that would be my first thought. I'd be like, okay, what technology around me broke this time? Because that's typically my life. I can get into a whole thing about things not working, technology not working for me. If you've been around my channel for any length of time and you've been to my live streams, you would know that technology and me it's just a running joke in my life at this point. And I think this is the lowest I've heard his register. I really like it. I like how the first line was kind of spoken. It was a very interesting juxtaposition coming in. I would imagine that like if your voice isn't naturally that low, and I'm trying to think if I've seen any videos of him just speaking. I can't. I feel like I have, but his speaking voice is eluding me. But unless your voice is naturally that low, I can imagine it'd probably be very difficult to sing that low. I'm not saying that's why he made that choice. I'm liking that choice. But yeah, it's just a very sultry register. So I like it when, you know, men sing in that register. There's just something very sultry about it. And it's just really, it's just beautiful. Just beautiful. It's just like watching him sing it, it's almost like it's not him singing. Obviously it is, but just like you don't expect that low of a register to come out of Dimash. It's just he doesn't have, I don't know, at least for me, he's not what I picture when I think of like a really, really deep bass singing voice. So it's really cool to hear him sing this low. Yeah. And right here, I really like how the piano kind of dropped out, but you kind of had the reverb from it just kind of go as he was starting to sing this. And I really like music that allows the melody to shine. It's so simplistic, and I think a lot of tendencies is to add more to it to make it not feel empty, but I think there's something beautiful in that simplicity and in that emptiness that we just don't hear very often. And even like in the ballads of, you know, yesteryear, you know, there was a lot of stuff going on, and it's usually only in classical music sometimes do you really kind of like let that simplicity go. I think just to my own classical playing, where a lot of what I'm playing is flute and piano, that's what it is. So there's a lot of times where like the piano drops out to let the flute player kind of do a cadenza or do just kind of a really interesting like motif or what have you. But that kind of simplicity of like a piano kind of dropping and just letting the natural reverb serve as that backdrop for the soloist. You don't see that too much outside of classical music, at least in my experience. So to see it here on a major stage like this, I really like it because I think there's a lot of beauty in it. And I just want to mention that this venue looks gorgeous. I would love to see this place in person because that venue it's just a pretty building. That's it. That's all I have to say there. And even here, we got to watch the piano player just really wait for that cue. Like you can see him kind of getting his finger set up for the next part while Dimash was singing, just waiting for that cue. And yeah, that's what you want in a fantastic piano accompaniment, is just you want your accompanist to accompany. I can't say it. Accompanist. But you want that person to like just be in sync with you, and finding a good partner like that can be very tricky. I know, at least in the classical world, like a lot of people who will sometimes tour with their accompaniments just because you really need to have that synchronicity to really make the music shine. I really like that he kind of waited until like the end of like this chorus part to really start broadening his register. I really like that he spent a good portion of the first part of the song in the lower register, because I think that makes the juxtaposition to later all that more effective. So I really like here how the music has picked up. We now hear the strings, and like I said, I don't see strings on stage, so I'm assuming that this is partially backtracked. And then you kind of see the flute player and the guitarist in the background. I'm surprised that like I'm hearing no flute whatsoever. Again, hi flute player, slightly biased here. I think there should be more flute music in pop songs. I think there should be more flutes in video game music, hence why I do what I do. And obviously this is not about the flute player, but if you have a flute player on stage, I would expect to hear it in the backtracking, and I'm just not hearing that. So that's slightly disappointing. I think we're kind of missing that color there. You have a flute player, like bring them up in the mix just a little bit, because like I'm straining to hear it, and I think you're missing a little bit of that color. But other than that, that's my rant, my flute rant for the day. And I like how in this part, as the music is picking up, he's getting a little bit more powerful with his singing. There's a little bit more oomph behind it. There's a little bit more power behind it. I really like it. And even though I cannot understand the language, thank goodness we have the English subtitles, so I can kind of get a sense of what is being sung about. You can tell that he has such good enunciation with his singing, with like everything is coming out clear and concise, and like if you're in this audience and listening, you know exactly what he's saying, assuming you know the language. I unfortunately do not, but you don't need to know the language to know when something is being spoken and sung well. So yeah, I wanted to point that out too, because it's just really good enunciation, and it's just really good singing to be able to clearly communicate the lyrics of the song. And here he has really good stage presence. He's getting a little bit more animated with his motions. And when you're doing that, you know, you run the risk of your voice not being as powerful or strong. And the fact that he has no wavering in his voice, there is no loss of power, there's no loss of tone or quality, shows just how much he's practiced doing that, so that when you have that much control over your singing, you can get a little bit more animated with your movements and your motions, and it just adds to the overall stage performance it adds to the stage visuals without taking away from the actual performance. So I really like how he's getting a little bit more animated within this, kind of telling a story not only with his words and his voice, but with his body as well. And here, this section we're going to be stopping a lot. Here, I like how there was like so much silence behind him with that as he was doing that, like coming in right at the climax of that phrase. I loved that, and I love how like now we're hearing him travel up the register a bit, so we get to hear a little bit more of that operatic background, that more tenor-esque background. And yeah, I really like it. It's really, like I said, it's a nice juxtaposition between the beginning where it was a little bit more soft and delicate and very, very low, but now as we're traveling up, it's getting a little bit more powerful. You're hearing a little bit more passion. You're getting a little bit more of the different colors that he can do with his singing, and yeah, really like it. And now and I really like how he followed the camera around for that part too. Really, like he understands that his audience is not only the people directly in front of him, but the people that are going to be watching this video. And honestly, he's going to get so many more people watching the video than he is in the audience. That's just how the internet works. And that's just how, that's just how it is. So I really like that. He kind of played to the camera there. Now, as someone who is extremely motion sick, I did not particularly like the spinning camera on like the 2 revolutions. That's a me problem. It's an interesting camera technique, not one you'll probably ever see in my videos because, like I said, spinning motions and me don't mix. I get very motion sick. Even just watching cameras spin like that just makes me a little queasy. So it's a nice effect, but not one I personally like because of my own issues. And here, again, we had that space. We were traveling up the register, and just those pauses, those backtrack, and I'm saying backtrack as well as the background performers, but like the backing pauses as he sings and kind of starts traveling up that register as a nice juxtaposition between what he was doing before. It's very effective storytelling with music, and I love it. It's just, and you kind of know it's coming. Like as soon as it stops, you know, boom, he gonna sing a little bit, and it's just, then everything's gonna come back, and it's really good storytelling with music. And we're going to stop it there real quick. So I did notice in the background that there was someone on keyboards. So it's very possible that the strings that we're hearing is MIDI keyboard playing the strings, which, okay, it definitely adds to the whole live performance thing and how everyone is in sync. Again, I don't think that really detracts from what I was saying earlier, where everyone needs to be in sync, whether the strings are not actual string players because they're being played on a MIDI keyboard, or whether it's a backtrack coming along with the live performance as well. Everyone needs to be in sync for this to work. And it's beautifully done, beautifully done. And I kind of like how it kind of had that like crackling of thunder. Adding those sound effects to music, I love it. It's such good storytelling. Definitely things that I've added in a couple of my songs. I think I did it in Lullaby of Woe, which I will leave a link to my music video up there. Yeah, I can't think of, and maybe Woven Storm. I think just at the beginning of the music video, it's not in the actual recording of the song, but at the beginning of the music video, we kind of added those effects to kind of help with the storytelling. And his stage performance of him just like looking up, like looking to the heavens for an answer or for a sign or for help. It's just excellent stage performance, telling the story not only with his song and vocals, but with his body. And yeah, it was about here that you're thinking the song's going to end. Obviously, the audience thought the song was going to end, but he's still going. And it's right here where like the backing has faded away, and this beating heart sound comes on, and you think the song's over. And this is where I was thinking like, okay, those were interesting chord choices to end on. It definitely felt unresolved, which nothing wrong with that. Like you can use those choices and have something feel unresolved to, tell that story. This is obviously a story of longing and heartache, and it kind of being this dreamlike experience. So like to have it end on a chord that doesn't quite resolve, it kind of puts you on edge. And obviously how he was kind of doing this pose, pulling the microphone away, it definitely led you to thinking that this was the end of the song. Yeah, it was a really interesting choice that when we continue on, song's not over. So I was right in feeling like it was unresolved, like there was more to come, and it kind of looking like it was going to end, but then, so it was a surprise, but not, if that makes sense. And here it comes back in. So yeah, there just really was no good place to stop in there. But like, yeah, it coming back in, it was like fully orchestrated. Like the strings had a lot of moving parts behind it, and like you had more of the guitar and more of the drum set. So like this was like the finale ending, and he was a lot more animated. I can kind of surmise that maybe like this part where he was singing in his vocal register is where he's most comfortable. I get the feeling that like this is the range that he's most comfortable singing in, because he's a lot more animated, and you can be a little bit more animated in the spots where you're a lot more comfortable, because if you're comfortable, then you can, you can do it well, so you can kind of experiment with like the extras. And I know that this is kind of true with my own music. The parts of songs where I'm a little bit more comfortable or I'm a little bit more confident in my abilities, I can be a little bit more animated. I can be a little bit more playful with it. But, in some of my music, there are parts where like they're hard. I have some songs that are just really hard. So, and those parts I tend to like not be quite as animated, because I'm concentrating a little bit more on those difficult parts. So that's why I'm saying he seems a little bit more comfortable in this register. So he gets to be a little bit more animated, which again, just adds for a really good show. Or it could be that it's just the end of the song, and you got the fireworks going, you got like the lights and the smoke and like the full backing of this song, that it calls for a little bit more animation with your singing. So yeah, there was just a lot, and excellent stage performance. It's just an overall a fantastic performance. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this reaction. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, leave a comment below. Is there another reaction that you would like to see? If you're a patron and you suggest a reaction, that gets put to the top of the priority list. So if that interests you, if there's a song that you're dying to have me react to, become a patron and give me a suggestion. And yeah, your suggestion gets put to the top of the list. Follow me on all of my social media. It's been great having you here, and I think that's it. So I will catch you in the next one. Bye. Accompanist. The person who plays with you. I can't say it. It's one of those words I just can't say.